to see whether it had impact on the price of fuel. It is true that we have imposed the energy fund levy, and the reason for that has been clear. And let me clarify that when they were in power, there was a fiat by President Akufo-Addo that they should not include the price of liquid fuel in fixing the price, and that in fixing electricity prices, and that government will absorb the cost. So in other words, government was going to subsidize it. They didn't pay. So it racked up huge debt. So it was necessary to address it. And if you listen to the finance minister carefully when he went to parliament to introduce this levy, he said that this levy would generate roughly half what we needed to import oil to fire our thermal plants. Because if he imposed all of that on electricity, it will go up too much. So part of it will be absorbed at the pump, and part of it will go onto electricity price. That's why you had the increase we had last year. In accordance with the automatic price adjustment that they agreed with the IMF. They were not including fuel in the pricing, but we had to include it. That is why electricity price went up. So when they argue that, oh, we were not affected by automatic pricing because crude oil prices were falling, that is simply not true. But back to petroleum prices. Between 2018 and 2024, they increased certain levies significantly. For instance, when they came to power, they increased ESLA by 20% in 2018. And once you increase ESLA, automatically it will reflect in an increase at the pump. Again, they increased the bust margin by 300%. They increased the primary distribution margin by 247%. Then they increased the fuel market margin by 350%. And then the Unified Petroleum Price Fund, UPPF, they increased it by 429%. So if you do this, naturally, the price at the pump is going to increase. So when you add these increases in the levies that they did to the steep depreciation of the currency from 6 cedis in July to 17 cedis in November, you are going to have an increase, the sharp increase you recorded at the pump in November 2022, even though the price of crude oil had fallen to 86% by that time. So it was not the Russia-Ukraine war that was creating the problem. The problem was the factors that government controlled that it had lost complete control of. And the reason why today you find that the price of crude oil is at, I think, $110 a barrel. You yourself have said it.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
Which is higher than it was in November 2022. But the prices are lower than the prices that they were selling at in November 2022. The reason is that we have controlled the currency. That is why it was absolutely imperative for the Bank of Ghana to do what they did to stabilize